guys, Kendall with BlackOvis, and today I am talking about the Idaho III brand new boot from Crispi. And I wanted to just dive into some details and give you both the ingredients, use case, and why this boot should be on your list for whatever type of hunter you might be, and what my opinion is. As most of you know, I've been a long time fan of Crispi. I've worn just about every boot in their lineup. And this year, with the introduction of a number of boots, the Idaho III is at the top of my list. Just going top to bottom, a couple pieces I want to tell you about. It's a 10-inch high boot. Crispi measures their boot height, just because I've had a couple people ask me about this. The boot height is measured from the ground to the top. So this is a 10-inch boot, but because of the kind of thickness of the midsole, you're really looking at 9 inches of actual height from where the bottom of your foot is to the top. So just wanted to clarify that for anyone that's questioning out there. Why Idaho III? What changed from Idaho II to III? Handful of changes. First, physically, you're gonna see a different colorway. I think this is a really sharp boot, and I get it. None of us are buying boots because they're awesome color or whatever. Actually, the reality is we are buying boots because of the color. A lot of us like some variety, or we like consistency, but the Idaho III, I think, is a head and shoulders difference as far as just the look of it. I think this is a rad looking boot, and kudos to the guys at Crispi US and folks over in Italy that designed the look of this. But 10-inch high, a number of new ingredients. So let's just dive into these details. First off, water repellent suede. You've got that on the tongue. You've got that on this portion here, on the rear of the boot here. All of that dark brown is suede material. You have a little bit of it right here in the center. You've got cordura that runs up the tongue, and that adds additional breathability. The reason why this material on the outside is different from this material is just the flexibility. What is this material on the outside here that's not leather? This is called PU Tech. It is a cordura base woven with strands of polyurethane. So where other boot manufacturers in this tall type boot use cordura, and then you get kind of a collapsing of the boot or a collapsing of that wall, you lose structure. Now you get lightness by adding these materials and going away from a full leather, but you add breathability and you add structure when you start creating the use of the PU Tech. So the PU Tech is this fabric here. That's the frame of the boot, and that is going to provide both structure laterally as well as maintain the integrity of kind of the shape of the boot. This wrap framing right here is actually a rubber that's impregnated or built into that PU Tech. I've seen how they do that. It's pretty fascinating. But again, that also adds framing to the boot. So you have this portion of the boot that they're using a lot of this PU Tech or cordura-like fabric. By adding this wrap framing, it creates more stability. This is really awesome because it maintains a lot of breathability. You've got these holes and these pockets in here that increase breathability and it also decreases weight in a high performance boot. As many of you have seen, most of the boots, if you look inside, have an orange tag that says ABSS. Another ingredient on the Idaho is the ankle bone support system from Crispi. That's a very unique system that they have come up with, and it's been in the line for a lot of years. Adds ankle support. As you lace up the boot, imagine your ankle bone here, and that ABSS coming around or strengthening, maintaining the position of the ankle bone. So you have still lateral movement without sacrificing mobility, but you also have that protection from really, I almost challenge you to roll an ankle in a Crispi boot that has ABSS. It's darn near impossible. The major change for the boot this year is the sole. This is the full control. It's a brand new partnership with Vibram that Crispi has created, the full control sole. Now, when compared to the Crispi Claw, which I've got here on this boot, it is a different looking sole. The pattern is different and the depth is a little bit different. And then the one other thing that I'm seeing on this sole, and I had a chance to use the Crispi Valdres last year that had the full control, it feels like the angles are sharper on the lugs. The lugs are a little more 90 degree, where on the Crispi Claw sole, they're a hair rounded, a little softer. I think this is a more aggressive sole. I think it does add a little bit of weight. Obviously that's the case because you've got extra rubber in there. It still is very tacky rubber, very sticky. I found in using it last year on the Valdres that when wet, I still get exceptional grip over rocks and logs and things like that. So the Full Control is a brand new sole. It does have different directional lugs. Outside directional and inside directional are different, and those are shaped and designed specifically by the folks at Crispi with Vibrams partnership to give you different types of grip as you're going uphill. For example, you're gripping on this outside. As you're going downhill, you're getting braking, the outside versus the inside. Outside would be more downhill, uphill would be that more inside. So it's a really unique design, and I think it's a really high performing sole. The midsole, just so that Crispi uses a number of different terms. They use what's called crossbow framing. Crossbow framing is this element or this design inside the midsole material. As you've seen, for example, on this Laponia right here, there's two different densities. This isn't just a colorway. There's two different densities of the EVA in this particular midsole, and it's just a straight across. What Crispi did with Vibram a number of years ago, and they've enhanced in this new EFX midsole, is they still maintain the crossbow framing. It is a little bit different than if you have like an older, like a Original Guide or Original Nevada or some of the other boots like the Valdres that also featured that for a while, and the older Idaho I and the Wyoming one. The Idaho II introduced this EFX midsole, and now the Idaho III maintains it. But that crossbow framing creates just that support and cushion within the midsole. And then it's a dual density polyurethane midsole, and this EFX midsole is what the name of it is. And this is just, I mean, this is awesome. It's got little bellows inside as you move up towards the forefoot. And my impression as well as my experience shows that this is more absorbing, more cushioning long term. And that's, I mean, the Idaho III honestly is kind of this pinnacle of all the different cool things that Crispi is doing in one boot. Now, why would you choose the Idaho III? Well, a couple things. Number one, this is a great early season, and I'm talking like August, where the archery hunts start here in Utah, and September, where they start throughout the West. If you're tree stand hunting or bird hunting in the Midwest, or even in the East and South, and you want that added height, you still want breathability. I think for, honestly, pheasant, upland game, grouse, anything like that, where you want more ankle support, but you still want a breathable boot because you're kicking in a ton of miles, I think the Idaho would be super well suited for that. I personally, elk hunting, deer hunting, in pretty much, I'd say 80% of the terrain that you're going to encounter, maybe 90%, depending on your fitness and depending on kind of how much you can navigate just simply without the boot doing the support for you. I think this boot is exceptional in a lot of those different type of situations. As you get into, let's call it late October, November, you're obviously going to throw a gaiter on. That's where you might be bitten a little bit by the added or increased breathability from the tongue as well as the PU Tech material. I would probably swap out, if this is my one and only, I'd swap out my sock, go to a full cushion versus a light hiker. And you could stretch this boot well into like probably early November until you get into that really, really cold situation. The Idaho III is a unique boot in the Crispi lineup, as it's the only non-leather 10-inch high boot. All the other boots in this category are made with full leather. So a unique boot, something you ought to take a look at. It looks sharp. It's got all the rad ingredients that Crispi has come up with over all the years, and the brand new Full Control sole. I think it's worth the check. Last thing I'm going to look at is the weight of this boot. It's really interesting. I was weighing a number of the different new boots, and this boot, this is a size, let's see, this is a size 8.5, so it's small on the smaller side. This comes in at 1 pound 14 or 13.6 ounces, so 1 pound 14 ounces. Let's call it 2 pound, probably right around that 2 pound mark if you're in the size 10 to 11. And if you're 12, you're bumping up over a little bit to 2 pounds per boot. So still lightweight within its category, extremely comfortable, and it comes in at a 3 flex, meaning it can pretty much do a lot of different terrain. You're going to break that in. You're going to feel it's a little bit stiffer than obviously some of the other models, but all in all, this boot is a fantastic collection of all the different things you expect from Crispi in a lightweight, 10-inch, all-mountain, do most anything boot. The Idaho III, you can check out the further details in our description below, and you can find it always on BlackOvis.com.